I'm Mark Kobayashi-Hillary. I blog in a number of places, but I guess, for me it really started off, I don't know, 2001, 2002, something like that, just doing personal stuff. So it was almost like personal blogs, and even at the time there wasn't really the kind of capturing of news stories. Stuff like Dig, didn't really exist back then. So I was using the blog almost to capture interesting news stories. Really, when it sort of exploded for me was 2006, when a national paper in the UK, Computing, which is really the largest technology magazine in the UK, they asked me to write their blog about outsourcing, and it became the most popular blog in the magazine. And I think really because I tried to write it in a more engaging way, very different way to the way the rest of the magazine is written. Because you've got magazines, newspapers, they have a sort of news agenda. They're sort of reporting things that have happened. And what I tried to do with the blog was basically write about experiences within the industry. Who am I meeting? What's going on? What are the trends? What are people saying? So the blog was written in that more engaging sort of style. So the magazine really loved it, and clearly for me, I found that you could have a blog as a platform, and people would started to respect that just as much as if you were a journalist writing in an established magazine.
That's true. Since you have just mentioned that you have been blogging since 2000, what kind of trends do you see that are changing in these times? 10 years over now. What kind of changes have you seen in the blogosphere?
Well, the biggest change is the respectability of blogging. I don't know how it is actually in India, but certainly in the UK now, when you watch the normal traditional news or read a normal newspaper, and when you see someone pop up on the news, an expert on this topic, and gives an opinion on something, quite often you'll see now blogger as their title. So someone will pop up to comment on what the Prime Minister said today, and it'll be political blogger as a commentator on what's going on in politics. So clearly there's a sense of respectability now around the whole blogosphere and community, and the people are seen almost as sort of drivers of change. People who are experts and commenting without the normal baggage of the old media outlets. So the respectability is really the biggest change. At a lower level, there's just the ease. How easy it is to actually create a blog today that actually looks nice. It used to be quite clunky, a lot more difficult, and even if you could do it, it just didn't really look particularly nice. And now you've got the whole concept of the style sheets, CSS and stuff like that, allowing you to just completely change the blog without having to fundamentally change anything. You can just put a new skin on it and make it look nice. So all of that has changed the whole world entirely.
So participation is one thing. What kind of techniques do you use to publicize your blog, attract more readers to what you're saying?
Well, obviously you've got good tagging. If the content itself is good, then it'll naturally find an audience that's interested in that topic. Because clearly now people are using stuff like Google News alerts to find out about different topics. But at the same time, clearly you've also got to go out there yourself and talk about it. And I think really Twitter is the best tool that I personally use for telling people about what's on the blog. Because I've got a couple of thousand people anyway on my own Twitter stream, so I'll tell those people about what I'm writing about at the moment. But then in addition to that, you can very easily just scan through Twitter and see, if I've just written something on my blog about a particular topic, I can easily find people who are talking about that topic. So it's easy to then comment and tell them, hey, I just wrote about that on my blog, and you sort of create a whole new audience. So yeah, really Twitter's the most important thing for me, because it allows you to engage and interact with people. But there's other networks. If it's more business oriented, then I make sure that there's a news feed in LinkedIn. My personal Facebook, I always put stuff that I've written there as well. So really the social networks.
Great. What about Twitter and blogs, will there be a competition among them, or will one supersede the other, microblogging taking over blogging because it's quick, easy and fun?
Yeah, I mean, I think that microblogging has definitely got its place, and it's a phenomenal platform. But what I find Twitter is better for is almost having conversations. It's engaging people directly, and I think that the people who use Twitter just to say, I'm having a haircut, I'm having my breakfast, they sort of don't understand that it's not supposed to be microblogging just writing about what you're doing at this present time. It's more about engaging with people and commenting on what they've done, showing people your blog entry. It's a much more two-way dialogue. Twitter is incredibly interactive, and it's just sort of a big online conversation where you can filter by topic or filter by your friends list, and they're in parallel. The concept of blogging and microblogging, but I find microblogging is got a much more two-way dialogue than just say regular blogging, where someone might comment on your blog post.
You have written quite a few books. Do you think the regular blogging habit helped you writing that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that clearly the whole book market is changing as well, and people's attention span is reducing. And I normally write in the business and management space, and clearly this is an area where there's books out there that are phenomenally popular, like say Thomas Friedman's World is Flat, but it's nearly 700 pages long. So how many people who've got it on their shelf have genuinely sat down and read all of that book? I think that people genuinely have got shorter attention spans. I mean, Stephen Covey, the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, he's now come out openly and said all of his books are now going to be incredibly short because he wants to make very direct points. He can't understand why anybody would read a big fat long book anymore. And it's true. I mean, you took a look at one of the books I wrote recently, and it's under 100 pages long. And I think that we're seeing a sort of crossover, and particularly with publishing platforms like Lulu.com, Amazon is also now going to become a publisher themselves. I think that you'll see this crossover between the world of the blog being a sort of short, direct comment, and the book being a way to explore in more detail, so to create a much more detailed argument and more information, but not necessarily to the point that to make a point about globalization, I could probably do that in 100 pages, not 700.